Hey, how's it going, everybody? I am taking a look at fares to get to Bangkok, the west coast of the United States, California. That's my home area, so I always take a look at Los Angeles to Bangkok. We can look at San Diego, San Francisco, but generally, LA to Bangkok is going to be your best bet. New York, the East Coast, you're going to go the other way around through the United Arab Emirates. Oftentimes, I guess you can get on a plane in, say, Newark, New Jersey, and fly to Singapore. That's a heck of a flight, and then fly to Bangkok. But let's keep it simple. Get yourself to Los Angeles, and let's see what we have. This is high season, so I just plugged in some dates here. November 27th, coming home about 2 weeks later on the 11th. I'm seeing a Korean air flight. It also says Delta. Delta is, what is it, Sky Team. Their partners are Korean and Air France, on and on. One World is American Airlines. Their partners Qantas, Cathay, British Airways. I forget who Ava Air is. I think they're part of One World. ANA is part of United, is that Sky Team. So we're taking a look at the fares. It's not too crazy for high season. I'll oftentimes see these comments on YouTube or Facebook about, oh, I paid $2,000. Yeah, it's true. If you're going to start from small town America, call it Decatur, Illinois, and you're going to take a flight from Decatur to Chicago, from Chicago to LA, from LA to Tokyo, Tokyo to Bangkok, yeah, that's probably going to be $2,000. If you can get a little bit more creative, take the train from Decatur to Chicago, take a cheapy airline. Don't take Spirit. I heard they just went bankrupt, but get yourself to Los Angeles as cheap as possible, hopefully 200 or 300 bucks round trip. And I can get you from LA to Bangkok for 774 on Korean or 844 on Cathay. Now, I'm going to warn you, I'm using Google Flights, by the way, but when you plug in your numbers on Google Flights, you of course want to pay attention to the one stop here. This is one stop in Incheon for an hour and 25 minutes. This is 3 hours in Hong Kong. Yeah, 1.5 is better than 3 hours, but here's the catch. What Google Flights won't show you, unless I don't know how to use it, maybe there's a setting. Change settings, change currency. Yeah, I don't think there is a setting. What I don't really care for is, in the case of this Korean, it looks like a good deal at 774. So let's just plug it in. It leaves at 9:40 LA, gets into Bangkok at 1:40. Okay, roger that. So let's click on that. The return flight, you have two choices, I believe. Oh, wait a second. What did I do? So it leaves November 27th at 10:40. Okay. 10:50 a.m. LA, Incheon 5:40. Your time changes and all. It's 13 hour and 50 minutes. So call it 14 hours in the air. Get you to Korea. You have a 1.25 layover in Incheon Airport in Seoul. Then you're going to take off at 7:05, arrive in Suvarnabhumi at 11:20 p.m. That's fairly common. Most of the flights arrive late. Now, this is a Korean Airbus, the A380, the double-deck plane, and then you're jumping on another wide body, a 787, getting to Bangkok. Now, heading home, we leave at 9:40 in the morning. Again, it's going to say Korean, Delta, WestJet. Sometimes you will fly a Korean metal from Suvarnabhumi to Seoul, and then you'll jump on a Delta flight. I do not think this is the case on this flight. No, it's not. So we're going Suvarnabhumi on 777, and then we're getting on an old school 747. It's still Korean Air. Again, sometimes you'll switch. Your Cathay might be an American flight from LA to Hong Kong, and then you get on a Cathay flight. It's still marked as a Cathay ticket. And the other thing you have to consider is where you're going to book your airline miles. If you're part of One World and you're only going to fly Cathay so much, well, credit those miles, what little you're going to receive for buying an economy ticket, to One World's American Airlines program, rather than having whatever it is. I don't even know what you earn nowadays. I haven't flown economy in such a long time. I'm a miles and points guy, and I do everything I can to get in that business or even first class cabin for free or $100, $200, $300. But they're now kind of giving you points based on not so much miles flown. It used to be 1 point per mile flown. Now it's based on the price of the ticket. So if you're only paying less than $800, I don't know what you're going to receive, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 round trip, but that's better to put them in an American account rather than a Cathay account, if that all makes sense. But let's keep it simple. Now here is the problem I'm talking about. This is a straight up Korean flight, and I would book these miles. Is Korean's partner Delta. So yeah, book them at Korean, book them at Delta, whatever you want to do, but put the miles where they're going to be of the most use. But here's the problem. So if I want to book this flight, now I'm trying to stay away from all this. Let's just keep it simple. There's economy saver. It says it's $774, and then it's $924 to get, I don't even know what you get. Okay, you get 2 free checked bags instead of 1 free checked bag. So you do the math on that. I travel carry-on most of the time. But economy flex jumps up to $3,134. Personally, I would just buy 2 tickets. I'd buy the $774, and if for some reason everything went wrong, with a doctor's note, when you're dealing direct with the airline, and that's what I'm going to get in, if you have a doctor's note that says, hey, I came down with a pandemic, whatever, they are going to, even on a totally non-flexible whatever, if you're working directly with the airline, you have, I'll say, a 99.9% chance of at least getting a credit with the airline. You're not going to get your money back. If you want to get your money back, pay $3,134, and even then it says it's a partial refund. So yeah, I don't know. You get a whole fancy free seat selection here. I'm not sure if it's worth going from $774 to $3,134 to get 2 free checked bags and a seat selection, but I'll leave all that up to you. Let's keep it simple, $774. But here's the problem. We want to buy this ticket. So where's the $774? I have to book it at Expedia, and do not use these third-party apps. Again, if you broke your leg, if you're dealing directly with Delta or Korean, and I don't even know where Korean is on here. If we went to Korean, it's not even letting me buy the Korean flight at Korean. But you can see all these third parties, Ovago, Just Fly. Ooh, this one's $769. Marty Go. I don't know who Marty is. I don't want to buy a ticket from him. I'm sure it's a fine operation. But out of all these choices, I guess Expedia's okay. And I've used Expedia. Booking AirAsia, I'll use Expedia. It actually works better than AirAsia's website. It does force you to book a checked bag, which I never take, but whatever. It's better than AirAsia crashing on you a couple of times. With that being said, AirAsia is working better. And a little pro tip on using AirAsia, use Mozilla Firefox, if they're the same, I don't know, Firefox, rather than Internet Explorer. Firefox seems to work the best when booking AirAsia. But anyhow, I would want to book at Delta. Again, Delta's a partner of Korean, but you can see the ticket has jumped up to $1,129. So this is a no-go for me. I'm going to go back and take a look at that Cathay flight, and I kind of already did, so I know what I'm going to find. Where are we at? LA to Bangkok. Let's refresh here. There was a Korean flight, and I thought there was a Cathay flight. Yeah, this is getting a little tricky here because this is Jetstar Zip Air. Well, Zip Air is a low-cost carrier with is it ANA's little brother? There's all these Air Japan, Zip Air, they're all popping up. There's Scoot Airlines, they're the little brother of Singapore. They're discounted airlines. I recently flew Zip Air from Bangkok, Suvarnabhumi to Tokyo, a little under 6 hours. It was a 777, no fancy nothing. No TVs. We were in economy, but no TVs. Even in business class, they had a lie flat seat, but no entertainment system. I talked to a lot of people that are paying the extra money for Zip Air Tokyo to Hawaii, and then they're jumping on a Southwest or whatever to get themselves back to the United States, and it's coming in surprisingly low. I don't remember. I think one guy said he got his lie flat business all the way to Honolulu for a little less than $3,000, but he said they do sell out ahead of time. So I'm not going to bother with this Zip Air right now. I'm looking for that Cathay flight. What I can do is switch to Cathay. Where are we at? Airlines. So let's just go to One World. LA to Bangkok. Those same dates. Let's refresh. I don't know where my Cathay flight disappeared. Yeah, it was a nice cheap flight. Let's change it to San Francisco. Well, let's look at San Diego. San Diego, my hometown, has a JAL flight, Japan Airlines. It was going every day. I think it's 3 times a week now. I'm waiting for the little plane here to load. Okay, it says cheapest 1,063. We know we could do it for less than $1,000 out of LA. It just depends. If you're coming from Phoenix, sometimes it's easier to get over to San Diego. Let's click on the calendar. Yeah, from San Diego, I'm just seeing 1,080 is the lowest price. So let's go back to San Francisco. And I can here's that Korean flight again. Well, here's a good JAL flight. JAL, their partner, American and Alaska, has recently joined One World. They were great when they were on their own. Now their point structure has really shot up. I flew over here. In fact, you can, I'll put a link in this video description. I flew first class on Alaska, miles on Japan's 777 coming over when I retired. Beautiful. And it was nothing. I want to say 90,000 points one way. I think now if you can even find the discounted one way, 225? I think 225,000. I'm not positive, but 90,000 points. I didn't even have the 90,000 Alaska. I had whatever. I was prepared for the business ticket. I had the seat. I paid $500 or $600 to buy the Alaska points. When I was checking in for my business ticket, she said, hey, first class seat available. I rarely see that. And I'm like, oh man. So I pulled the trigger for another $450 or whatever it was. I got up in that first class cabin my 3rd time up there, twice now with Japan and once in Cathay. And yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it on points. I don't know if it's worth it money wise. I think that ticket one way was $12,000 or $13,000. So forget about that. But for 877, let's take a look at this. We're San Francisco to Bangkok, and we're returning, I don't know, just pick one of these, 8:05 in the morning. So it's a 2 hour and 25-minute stop in Tokyo's Narita and 1 hour and 40-minute going home. I've been on both these flights, so not bad. And we can book it with JAL, 892, with American, 877. So why not just book it at American? It's a few bucks cheaper, plus American. If something goes wrong, I mean, why would you book it at Alaska? It's 1,755. But again, you have your Expedias and your Booking.coms. I think that's out of the UK, and 16 more choices. Yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't go with Ovago for 836. Just on the rare chance something goes wrong, you get in a car accident or whatever. Well, get a hold of American. Don't play games. They're going to want to see proof from your doctor and some medical bills or something. But they'll give you a credit if you just explain the situation. Hey, I booked this non-refundable fare, but this terrible accident happened, and I'd like to take this flight in 9 months or whatever the case is. They'll give you the credit. Again, 99% of the time. But there you go. We can book it at American. I guess book it at JAL if you're moving to Japan and you want to rack up those Japan Air miles. You have to get into the little idiosyncrasies. Well, what is cheaper? If you're flying the JAL flight, Japan Airlines, from San Francisco or LA to Tokyo, you're going to do it round trip for 10 times over the next 2 years, business purposes or whatever. That's fine. You're going to be on that Japan plane, but it might be cheaper using American miles. It may be cheaper using Alaska miles. When I flew over here first class using Alaska miles, it was a whole less miles than American, Japan, British Airways, any of the One World partners. So don't drive yourself crazy with these miles and points, but don't automatically jump and put them in American unless you do live in America and you're going to use your American points to save up for your next flight to maybe fly on Qantas or British Airways or whatever the case is. Now, Japan, you can also, it gets complicated. You can use your Japan miles to buy a ticket from Los Angeles to London on a British Airways flight. Again, that's probably not going to be the most optimal use for those miles. It's probably going to be better to have American miles to travel from America, even on that British Airways metal. But again, I'll leave that up to you. Let's just keep it simple and go with the cheapest right here, which is American. Now, our other choice was that same day, San Francisco to Bangkok. I thought there was an Ava. Yeah, I don't know what all this is. When you start getting into this self-transfer and it's $100 more, it gets a little crazy. You're going on JAL. Yeah, I don't even know where we're going here, to China, I guess, and then you're going from China to Incheon, then you're going from Incheon. Yeah. Stay away from all these. I thought it was one stop. But yeah, you can see it's not impossible, even during high season, to get yourself from the west coast of the U.S. over to Bangkok. Another option would be, and this isn't too bad, what I'll usually do is just double check LA to, say, Hong Kong. Oops. Yeah, LA to Hong Kong on these same dates. Yeah, see, it's the same price, really. Sometimes there's a direct flight. You can see it's nonstop. There's also, I believe, an American flight. There's the Cathay flight. I've been on this flight many times. But sometimes the American or United flight to Hong Kong, it might be $500 round trip. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but I think I got it for $550, $575 one time, and then I just bought Hong Kong Express or whatever the discounted airline was coming over to Bangkok, and I did the whole thing for $600 or $700. That beats paying $962. Now, what you have to be careful, and I've showed it in other videos, and people have, well, one person in particular left a comment like, oh, this is great, but not everybody lives in Los Angeles. I live in El Paso, Texas, or whatever. Okay, that's fine. You have to buy separate tickets, really. So I'm showing you LA to Bangkok on these same dates, and we got it for whatever it was. Well, okay, here's the Cathay. It popped back up. I was looking for this one earlier. So see this $774, but we had to buy it at Expedia, so I don't want to do that. So $844 on the Cathay. I already cheated, and I know that you can buy this at Cathay. So there it is right there. Book with Cathay, $849. Yeah, you can book it at Scholar Trip for $829, but again, I don't recommend. What is the old saying? Penny wise and pound foolish. Sure, you're saving $30, $40, whatever it is. Whoever Scholar Trip is, I'm sure they're legitimate companies. I'm not trying to slam anybody, but booking it directly with Cathay, booking it with American would be even easier. But yeah, I'm not going to pay $6,174. I have dealt with Cathay Direct. You're going to be talking to a person in Hong Kong if you break your leg or get in a car wreck. But again, you probably have a better shot. Even though American is a partner with Cathay, you're not going to be able to call American. They're going to say, hey, they're our partner, but we don't have anything to do with this. Now, if you book the ticket at American or Alaska, I didn't even see Alaska on the pick here, yeah. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't book it with American for 6,174 just on the off chance you're going to break your leg before your flight. But you can do a little searching around, tweak the flights. There's even multiple flights on this same day. I think there is. Yeah, here's another Cathay flight. I don't know. You can just tweak it around and see which one you can book at, say, American Airlines. And I'll just randomly pick one here. Now, see, they're all going straight to Cathay, and I don't know why that American is so much more. Sometimes, if it's $849 at Cathay and $869 at American, I'll do that. Again, one time, and it wasn't even me. It's usually somebody I'm traveling with for whatever reason. They couldn't come, and then we had to work backwards to cancel their flight, and it all worked out. One time, even with a non-refundable, my friend, she got a full refund from American. It was during the health pandemic, and I think there were different sets of rules back then. Oh, what do you have? No, we don't want you on this plane. Here's your money back. We understand. But again, you can work with the airlines. Just don't throw your hands up in the air and say, this is totally non-refundable, and I'm not even gonna work with it. But again, getting back to the guy who let me know in no uncertain terms that not everybody lives in Los Angeles, and I lived 100-something miles away in San Diego, so I get it. I would take the Amtrak up to LA because flying out of San Diego, well, most of the time I couldn't get it on points. And even the Japan flight out of San Diego, it was a non-lie flat seat. It was one of the, first world problems, but it was one of those big business seats that reclined, I don't know, 70% of the way. So I took the Amtrak up to LA, and if you've ever gone through the downtown LA station there, that's something else, but I did it, and then I would take the flyer bus over to LAX. I did it 100 times. But I would get on a bigger selection of 777s, whatever they were, A350s, and get myself to Bangkok in business or even first class. I just had to travel up there. So if you live in Vegas, if you live in wherever it is, El Paso, let's plug in El Paso. That was the guy who I was trying to tell. If you looked at El Paso to Bangkok these same days, we know we can do it for $846. Well, the prices start jumping up to $1,414. So you tell me, can you get, what is that, roughly $600? Can you get from El Paso to LA for less than $600 and something round trip? Well, let's see exactly what it is. I think you can. Oh, my girlfriend's texting me. We're supposed to go out to dinner in a couple hours. So 1,414 minus 846, it's $568. So we're going to put El Paso, that's what we're trying to beat. El Paso to Los Angeles on these same dates. Okay, so you can do it for $397, $400. I'm sure you can even do it a little cheaper if we tweak the dates around or tweak the flights around, but call it $400. So rather than buying that one ticket from El Paso to Bangkok and paying $1,414, pay $846 plus $397, whatever that is. It's cheaper than the other one. $1,243. So just by buying two separate tickets. Now, he also had an answer for that. Well, yeah, but what if I miss my flight? These are two separate tickets, so I'm going to go to the airport in El Paso, and if there's a thunderstorm, my plane's taken off from Los Angeles. I get it. I said back to him, and it was a much better or bigger spread in the money. I think he was saving $1,200 in the example I was showing him. And I said, okay, so you're not saving $1,200 by buying two separate tickets. You'll save $1,100 because you're going to fly in the day before and get yourself a $100 hotel, 150, whatever, at the airport at LAX, and you have 13 hours to get yourself to the new plane. I mean, I think I had him arriving in El Paso at whatever it was, 7 or 8 in the morning, or arriving in Los Angeles, and the plane took off at 2 in the afternoon. To me, that's plenty of time. There were 3 or 4 more flights from El Paso to get you to Los Angeles before that plane took off to wherever it was going. I think it was Tokyo, and then on to Bangkok. And again, this guy goes, I don't know what I'm talking about. You need to buy, I will pay the extra $1,200 to ensure my checked, oh, that's what it was. My checked bag gets from Los Angeles to Bangkok. And I'm like, okay, man, I mean, you can put your bag in a seat next to you if you're that concerned about it. I mean, just buy 2 tickets. You're paying, I think he was paying almost 3 times as much money to buy a ticket from El Paso to LA to Tokyo, Tokyo to Bangkok. And I don't know. I guess this person had never heard of a checked bag getting lost before. I never check a bag. I obviously checked bags when I moved here, but I checked a lot of bags. I had 4 huge bags. That was the benefit of flying first class. Kind of no questions asked there. But, well, I'm sure there are rules, but I pushed them a little, probably harder than I should, and it wasn't a problem. But you'll have to make the decision. Do the homework on LA or San Francisco, and then work backwards from there if you live in wherever it is, Decatur, Illinois, or El Paso, or whatever the case is. I don't even know. Well, let's look at this LA flight. Okay, this isn't even going to LA, it's going to Burbank. And if you've traveled from Burbank to LA, that's no joke. So, yeah, be careful with that. Now, this one does go to LAX. Okay, ELP is El Paso, I guess. So, yeah, so you certainly wouldn't want to travel El Paso to Burbank and then get yourself from Burbank over to LAX, going from $397, so whatever that is, $21 more, you get yourself to LAX. It's just not that big a problem. Now, taking a look at the East Coast, I am no expert on the East Coast, but let's just plug in New York, which includes JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark, and we're going to plug in Bangkok. It's probably going to take us to the UAE. Now it's giving us Cathay as the cheapest option. No, now it refreshed and went to JAL. So that's kind of a long flight, though. Going from, let's see what it does. We're going from JFK to Haneda. Okay, yeah, you gotta be a little careful. Okay, this is 2 stops, so this is no good. But it's going JFK. The price is good, $879. But it's going JFK to Haneda, which is the smaller airport. It's a big airport, but it's closer to downtown Tokyo. Narita is, I don't know, 60 or 70 miles away. They have the high-speed or speedy train, but it's a distance away. Then it's going from Haneda to Kix, which is Osaka, on a small plane, a 737. Then you're taking a flight from Osaka to Suvarnabhumi. So yeah, there's easier ways to get here with one stop. You can buy it at JAL for $938, so it went up from $879 to $938. Again, I would pay that rather than $879 at Ovago. But let's see what another choice is out of the East Coast. There was a New York. I think they fly straight to Hong Kong. That's a pretty long flight in coach. Here it is. So it jumped up to 1,024. We can tweak the dates a little bit. Yeah, they're all about the same. 1,060, 1,020. So let's leave our dates. And we're looking at Cathay at 1:50 p.m. We'll return on this flight. We can book it straight with Cathay. That's good. Let's see if we can book it with American. I don't see the option to book it with American, so Cathay would be what we do. We're leaving on the 27th. We go JFK. We fly for a little over 16 hours. That's a long flight to Hong Kong direct on a 777. Beautiful plane. You have a 3-hour and 5-minute layover in Hong Kong, and then we fly on a smaller plane, the Airbus 321neo. It's 3 hours from Hong Kong to Suvarnabhumi. And going home, Suvarnabhumi to Hong Kong on a big plane, an A350. And we might take that same plane. Well, yeah, probably, because it's a 1-hour layover in Hong Kong. Just refuel the thing, put some more passengers on, and we're going to fly from Hong Kong to JFK. 15 hours and 35 minutes. You have the wind going with you in the other direction, the trade winds and all, and it's the same Airbus A350, probably the same plane. So that's pretty good with a 1-hour layover. So there's all kinds of different options. Let's try to find one of those options that get us through UAE. Every time I talk to somebody on the East Coast, they're going to Abu Dhabi, Dubai. Let's see, there's Qatar Airline, there's Etihad, and what's the third? I can't even find it on these dates. Let's change the dates. Let's change it to December 16th and coming back December 30th. No, that is around the holiday. Okay, so here's the Emirates. It's jumped up to 2,148. Qatar Airlines, 2,600. What's this cheapest? Sometimes when you click on this cheapest, it's not a flight you want to take. And you can see many of these flights have 2 stops. I don't know. Let's go to the Emirates. So we're leaving on Emirates, but we have to come back through Istanbul, which is I think a pretty long flight. So JFK to Dubai is 12 hours and 25 minutes. The double-decker bus, the A380, 2-hour and 10-minute layover in Dubai. Then we're flying 6 hours from Dubai to Suvarnabhumi. I think the same plane. It's an A380. So that's not too bad. But it's this Turkish I'm a little concerned about. You go Suvarnabhumi to Istanbul. Okay, well that's not as long as I thought. For whatever reason, I thought from Bangkok to Istanbul was a longer flight, but it's a little under 11 hours. It's on an A350. 2-hour and 15-minute layover in Istanbul, and Istanbul to JFK on a 777, 11 hours and 10 minutes. So yeah, you do the math. Depends on what side of the world you're living on. Now, I don't know much about the UK. Let's just put in London to Bangkok. Let's keep those same dates. Again, this is high season. What was I doing? November 27th and coming home December 11th, I believe. $621 US. Oman Air. Actually, I met a guy who flies for Oman Air. He flies the 787 based in Muscat. Nice guy. They stay at the Marriott Marquis. They're on Sukhumvit Soy 22, and we were hanging out, having a beer in the hangover. I think he had like a 48-hour layover. Air China, yeah, a lot of people like Air China. I don't want to badmouth the Chinese airlines. I have just read so many things, and I've had a couple of experiences. Not so much Air China, they're legit, but China Southern, China Eastern, a lot of these airlines, they cancel the flights pretty easy. If the plane, if you've ever been on a flight and you're like, hey, look, I'm lucky, I have poor man's first class here, a whole row of 3 to myself, and you look around, the plane's half empty. That's not going to happen so much with these China Southern flights. It's China Eastern, Shanghai Airlines. Well, Shanghai's all right, but China Eastern, China Southern, they'll cancel the flight if, there's 40 empty seats. But we are looking at London to Bangkok on Air China, $577. Coming back at 1:30 in the morning, $572. 2 stops though, that stinks. So you're going to go, okay, you're not flying out of Heathrow, Gatwick, 11 hours and 5 minutes to Shanghai on an Airbus A350, so a newer plane. Then a 5-hour and 45-minute layover, that kind of stinks, in Shanghai. Then you're going to Beijing, 2 hours and 20 minutes. Then you do another 5-hour and 10-minute layover in Beijing. Arrive in Suvarnabhumi after a 5-hour flight on an A330. That's a pretty old plane. So you have to take a look at that 10, 11 hours of layovers. Is it worth it for $572? Probably all these Air China flights are going to have those same layovers. I mean, we'll just randomly pick one. Yeah, 2 stops, 2 stops. So let's see how much more expensive it is to do a 1 stop. Yeah, there really aren't any that day. It jumps up to $1,000 to go on Thai and Turkish. But if we I'm going to stay away from that China Southern. Let's say I know there's an Ava flight. Let me change to that Ava, and I forget who Ava is with. I think they're One World. A lot of people are taking this Ava London to Bangkok direct. I think I did it. Ava. So nothing on those days, but let's look at the calendar. London, UK, and it should show me all the airports. I want Heathrow, Gatwick. Yeah, I want them all. Huh. Where are you, Ava? Well, I can't find it. But keep an eye, I'm sure you know, about Ava if you live in the UK. Let's just try to change these dates. Now I'm curious. So let's look at January 6th, coming back January 18th. And I'm doing this kind of fast, but you can set all the filters. I'm just trying to get Ava here. Okay, there's the Ava. London Heathrow. It's 11 hours and 25 minutes direct to Bangkok. On these dates, January 6th, coming back January 18th, it's 1,465. You can also do it direct on Thai, 1,627. Again, US dollars. But let's click on here and see. Here's some 1,100 options. Again, this is high season. I had a buddy, he said he did it for about 700 US during the off season. But let's check November 24th. Coming home, what is that, in a few weeks? December 16th, 3 weeks maybe. Okay, so there's the Ava. It leaves at 9:20 p.m., arrives at 3:45 into Suvarnabhumi, 11 hours and 25 minutes nonstop, $970. So not bad. Let's check out Sydney. And I've already been rambling on for 41 minutes here. I wish I could do more cities, but I'm just kind of going with who watches my videos, to be quite honest. It's mostly Americans, a lot of guys in the UK, and a lot of Australian folks, but I mean, everybody's welcome. Okay, I'm going to change my dates back to, I've been working with November 27th and December 11th, I believe. Let's refresh. Sydney Bangkok, Scoot Airlines is Singapore's no frills little brother. Okay, they're stopping in Singapore, so you're going Sydney to Singapore. How long are they stopping there for? Oh, 11 hours and 30 minutes. Yeah, forget that. For just a little bit more, 7:41, you can go non-stop, 9 hours and 25 minutes direct to Suvarnabhumi, or 10 in the morning, you arrive at 3:25. So yeah, those are two solid options. Vietjet, it's a good airline, but you're going to Saigon for 17 hours. I wouldn't mind a 17-hour layover to go get some tasty pho and all, but I need to get a visa, and other Americans. I don't believe Australians do. I think it's visa exempt on arrival, or maybe visa on arrival. I'm not positive. I mix up my UK buddies and my Australian friends. I know as an American, I need to use oftentimes a third-party site to get a visa, and it takes 2 or 3 days, and it costs what it costs, 30-40 bucks. But here's a 616 flight. Let's take a look at my buddy's hometown, Perth. My buddy Ben. Jetstar. I think I flew Jetstar within Thailand. They're a discounted airline as well. So that's a pretty good flight, 416. I know my buddy Ben loves this Thai flight. It's back, Perth, nonstop to Bangkok. They took it away. He told me it's for the miners. I guess there's a lot of mines up, well, I knew that, up in that area. So a lot of cheap labor from around Southeast Asia. They probably work in those mines, and they don't want to go all the way to Sydney, and then whatever it is, Sydney to Perth. It's a long flight. So they have this direct back. But there you go, 688. Again, this is high season. Or you can do it on Jetstar for 416. Now, my buddy, you have to also look at different things like the seat size. Now, let's take a look. I assume this is a 777, the Thai flight. You're not going to get a huge seat on any economy ticket, but it is a 787, so we can go to, and let me write this down, Thai's 787. It doesn't tell if it's a 788 or a 789, but most airlines configure their planes. When you talk about, oh, I'll never fly an Airbus, or I'll never fly a Boeing, the seat this, the seat that, that's all determined by the airline. Thai Airlines, Japan Airlines, that's why I love the Japanese airlines. Oftentimes they will have a wide body in a 3-3-3 configuration, 3 seats in the middle, sometimes 4, sometimes 3-4-3. But you'll jump on a discounted Chinese airline, and the seat is a half inch to an inch more narrow, and it barely goes back at all, and in between your knees and the next seat might also be another half inch. These are big differences if you're a bigger guy. I'm 5'8", but my buddy Ben, he's 6'4" or something. I mean, to jam him into an economy seat, and that's the other thing we have not got into, the price of the business seats, and we'll take a quick look here. I'm going down a rabbit hole, but sometimes it's worth paying for the premium economy just for the extra 2 inches of seat. It can make all the difference in the world on a flight from Los Angeles to Hong Kong, especially if you're a bigger guy. But I'm not a big guy, and I really appreciate the room. You can see here it says the above average leg room, 32 inch on this 787. So let's take a look at Scoot. I think that was the option. So, oh no, the Jetstar. So the Jetstar, let's see what its leg room is. Below average leg room, 29 inches. So yeah, you gotta do the math. If one flight is 90 bucks less than the other flight, yet you're squeezing in from a 32 inch to a 29 inch seat, you tell me. For 6 hours and 35 minutes, you can probably suck it up. For crossing the Pacific Ocean, maybe not so much. If you really want to get super detailed, you can go to Seat Guru. Any kind of seat. Seat maps. They're also trying to sell you tickets. But just put in like Thai Airways. Here's all the different airlines. But let me look at Japan Airlines because I know they're pretty good. So the new and domestic, they're usually going to squeeze in 12 or 15 or 25 more seats on a domestic, an older 763 than they are a 777 crossing an ocean. They try to take care of their passengers. This 777-300 extended range, 49 business seats, 8 first class. I was lucky to be in one of those 8. 40 premium economy, and now they're even getting into wider economy seats. You're going to pay for it, but well, maybe not. I think they're calling their regular economy seats just wider seats. So let's just click on one and see what it is. Okay, premium economy. So you see that's a 34 by 19 seat. So compare it to that Scoot Airlines. It said it was a 29 by 18. So yeah, there's a big difference between a 34-19 and a 29-18, or maybe even a 29-17. Let's look at Scoot if it's on here. Just showing you the difference. Yeah, I don't even think Scoot are so anxious to share their seat sizes, which is that's a sign in itself. But what was the other one? Jetstar. Okay, Jetstar. Yeah, I don't know why I have Scoot on the brain, but it was Jetstar. So let's look at their 787, 788. So that's the older one. The economy seat. Now this says it's 30 by 17. It said it was 29 when we were booking the ticket. But either way, there's a big difference between 29 or 30 and 32. If it only cost a few bucks more, I'll leave it up to you. You can just spend hours trying to find if $4,000 or $5,000 is affordable, and to many people it is, flying business class. I've only purchased a few business class tickets, and they were mistake fares. I got whatever it was, a $5,500 ticket for $555, and I bought as many of those as I could before they shut me down. But paying $5,500, no, that's a little out of my retired mailman salary. But November 27th, coming back, December 11th. Oh, I must not have my VPN on. It's changing over to Thai baht. So let's go to US dollar. We are going to switch. We know these two fares. There's the 774, which we have to pay at Expedia. There's the 846, so that's what I would do. But let's say we wanted to go premium economy on these same days. We're now jumping up. That's really not too bad. 1,691 round trip on ANA. ANA is a beautiful airline. I think you're going to fly ANA to Japan, and then Air Japan, their little brother, to Bangkok. We can. No, okay, this is no good because it's 2,350. We have to book it at United. To get that 1,600 price, we have to go with a third-party booker. But somewhere you're going to be able to find it for close to 1,600. And if we wanted to do business, again, these are high season prices, so it's $8,000 round trip. As much as 12,000. Well, let's take a look at what 8,000 gets us. LA to Narita on a United flight. Okay, now we're getting back to where I told you would fly one leg to Tokyo or Hong Kong on a United, on a Delta, on an American, and then you switch their partner, in this case Air Nippon. And to complicate matters, this Air Nippon is even flown by their little brother, plane and crew, by Air Japan, so it's not a true ANA. I've flown Air Japan, it's fine, but it is the discounted airline. So if you wanted to go ANA all the way, you'd have to do some hunting, you'd have to tweak your days. Business class on United is fine, but if you ask any seasoned traveler, they would say it does not compare to business class on a Japanese airline, just the attention to detail. Yeah, I mean, I've did business on most airlines, and you can't compare ANA or Japan Airlines to United and American. You just can't. It's almost night and day in business class. In first class, forget it. I mean, it seemed like I had my own personal sushi chef up there in the front row. I've been treated well in first class on United and American, but most of those flights, I think I did business class from Dallas to Hong Kong one time, and that was fine. It was above and beyond. But yeah, if I had to pay an extra $150 to go on ANA as opposed to United, that would probably be a solid investment. So just for fun, let's take a look at what first class ticket cost. LA to Bangkok in first class. Yeah, it's oftentimes hard to get a first class ticket to Bangkok because none of the planes have a first class cabin, or it's rare, from Tokyo or Hong Kong. They all switch. So we'll have to go to Tokyo. What am I doing? We have to go to Tokyo and then downgrade to a business ticket, but just LA to Tokyo, this is not even getting us to Bangkok yet. It is $18,385. And this is, that's the cheapest. This is the one I flew, 19,523. Yeah, but beautiful. I 100% recommend saving those points and doing it, experiencing it at least one time in life. I don't even know, how would we get Tokyo to Bangkok? I'm sure there's business travel that demand first class, but it's really kind of tricky to get. Okay, so here it is, $6,265, JAL 7,232. That's just Tokyo to Bangkok. On top of that, what was it, 17,000 round trip on the business. But old Google Flights wasn't showing me. I'm going to try one more time. It wasn't showing me the price from LA to Bangkok in first class. Okay, now it is. Maybe I just had to hit refresh. So not too bad. Well, not too bad. 17,161, but that was definitely better than that seems to be the same price as yeah, it seems to be the same price as LA to Tokyo, I thought. And this is getting us from Burbank. That's interesting. 2 stops. Okay, we're going Burbank, San Francisco to Narita, Narita to Bangkok. But 17,161 round trip. So it's fun to check all those prices out. But yeah, unless, I mean, nobody's watching my video who's paying $20,000 round trip for a ticket. But I appreciate everybody that is watching. So here you go. Here's just a couple of examples of some high season travel. I mean, it's definitely doable to get over here for, call it less than $1,000 once you pick a seat and do a bag, I guess. I think most of the time you're going to get at least one checked bag. I recommend against it. If you're coming over here for 10 days, yeah, pay for some extra carry-on weight if that's another 20 or 30 bucks. I don't even know. I think you get a pretty generous allowance on a lot of these international tickets. I get it. Checking a bag is probably more the norm, but I've been to well over 100 countries, and I haven't been to a country yet where I wasn't able to wash my clothes or have my clothes washed for me at a very small rate. So yeah, I travel as light and as fast as possible. So thanks for watching. This is just a peek at getting on over here to Bangkok, and don't be too put off by some doom and gloom you might hear from other YouTubers. Oh, it cost me $3,500 to get to Louisville, Kentucky or whatever. And then you find out this guy's plugging in Louisville to some small island in the Philippines rather than LA to the Philippines or LA to Manila and then tagging on the $200 fares. That's what you have to do. I mean, calm down on the you're going to miss your next flight, this, that, whatever. Go the evening before if you're going to sleep better at night, but that might save you $1,000. So take it easy. More videos to come. We'll see you later.